everybody, my name is Hattie and I'm from Scotland in the United Kingdom, and I'm a young professional advisor at United Europe. Today I want to tell you about the nuts and bolts of the GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulation. That sounds like high-flying legal stuff, but actually it's regulation that affects people and companies in Europe every day. The GDPR was passed by EU legislators in 2016 and became legally binding in 2018. It is significant because it regulates on data protection and data privacy issues for all individuals in the EU and the European Economic Area. As it is a regulation and not a directive, it is legally binding with the same provisions applying to all these countries. Well, you might have come across one of its outcomes with those internet cookie pop-ups on your internet browser. Anyway, the regulation was not only made for cookies, but it applies to all personal data, which means any information relating to an individual who may be directly or indirectly identified. Essentially, it's any personal information about you. Sound complicated? Let me highlight the main provisions of the GDPR. In a world in which we create more and more data every day, both online and offline, public concern for data privacy grew. As a response, the GDPR is based on 6 principles: lawful, fair and transparent processing of personal data; purpose limitation, which is that data that is collected needs to be for a specified, explicit and legitimate purpose; data minimization, which means that only the necessary amount of data shall be collected and processed; accuracy, the processor needs to be accurate with the personal data and keep it up to date; storage limitation, which means that it is only stored for as long as it is actually needed; integrity and confidentiality. Basically, it means that your personal data must be kept safe. Those are the principles, but the GDPR also lays out some of your rights. For example, so you have the right to access to information about what data was collected about you, access and control over your data, the ability to erase data. You might have heard of that as the right to be forgotten. You are able to restrict how companies use your data, and you're able to take your data with you. You see, the GDPR puts into concrete principles as to how your data is handled and what rights you have over your personal data. But who actually needs to apply it? Basically, the GDPR applies to any company or organisation that holds, sees or uses your personal data as part of its core activities. I don't know about you, but when I think of personal data, I immediately point to the big giants like Facebook, Amazon or the big banks. But in fact, GDPR applies to any size of organisation. But it doesn't stop there. Like the internet, the GDPR is not restricted to the geographical boundaries of the EU. Any organisation that processes information about citizens located in the EU has to abide by the GDPR. Even when a company only has one branch in the EU, the whole of the organisation has to apply GDPR. So, this means that the same standards for data protection applies for an American company like Facebook operating in Greece, an online grocery store in Finland, or a school in Spain. Pretty cool to be under the protection of the GDPR, right? Feel free to ask any questions you may have by leaving a comment below. And if you want to know more about European institutions, take a look at United Europe's webpage and our social media channels. Cheers for now.